Okay, so it's a French-Denmark connection today. Let's introduce ourselves a little bit, Jesper, and explain how we came up with this idea of such a webinar. So I'll let you introduce yourself first, if you want.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm Jesper. I'm a sales manager of Roima Intelligence, located in Denmark. We've been working together with Caroline for some years, namely at Hummel in Denmark, but also in other places, connecting warehouse with the supply chain, closing the gaps where data is often falling in between the cliffs of purchase and supply chain incoming goods on one hand, and the warehouse operations on the other hand. So Caroline and I have been trying to build strategies in terms of how we can close that gap and bridge those silos. So that's what we're here for today.
Yeah. That really all came out of a connection, a real concrete professional connection, as we met through our mutual collaboration with Hummel, the sportswear brand in Denmark that we both work with. And so I'm part of e-SCM, the sales team of e-SCM in France. So we are a French SaaS solution dedicated to supply chain management. And we work at the European level. That's why as well we do have a customer in Denmark and other countries. And when we met with Jesper, just really by curiosity, understanding what each other do and understanding how we help each other, we really enjoyed how valuable the data was that we were transiting between our systems and how valuable it was for Hummel. Particularly, and so that was how we can push also interconnection between solutions working with a mutual customer. It's important to know each other, to know what everybody does and how we can bring more synergies to customers. So of course, we're going to try focus more on the fashion industry because that's what we learned from on the SCM side and what Jesper learned from also working with Hummel. And to give a little bit of background, contextual background to start with, and you are involved, of course, in this industry, so you know today what is at stake. And of course, it's not a revolution. It's not new. It's been ongoing for a few years, and especially since the pandemic, that the suppliers now are really central to the procurement process because we are here at e-SCM mostly dealing and focusing on the upstream parts of the supply chain. So all procurement operations, procurement process involving production, follow-up, but also visibility over shipments coming in. So really providing control of the process until it is the goods, the collections are delivered in the warehouse. It has become a really big focus for organizations. There's been a switch of paradigm. Before, there was a lot of focus on the sellouts results in store, the customer experience, marketing experience, but then with the pandemic stressing it out, it was also a matter of having the stock in store if you want to achieve your commercial targets. And then supply chain got a lot more attention these past few years with all the disruptions encountered by organizations. Logistic disruptions, geopolitical disruptions, and brands, of course, today, brands don't face the same consumer behavior, don't act the same way. So brands are dropping several collections a year. You are dropping several collections a year, not only two. You have permanent collection as well that you need to handle. So that requires reactivity and working closely with your suppliers. And you are also diversifying your sourcing footprints, dealing with suppliers worldwide, so different lead times. Brands are omni-channel, so that means you need to align lead times with the various demands you have coming in from your various channels. So it's a matter of really controlling better the overall lead time. And that's where data, technology, will help organizations, of course, to stay closer to and meet the demands. So technology, digital transformation, of course, is not a new topic. It's been growing, accelerating, and that's a positive sign, of course, especially in the Nordics. I would say, but if I can say also in France, because the fashion industry is so important and generates so much value, that brands have really focused on gaining more agility and trying to reorganize, restructure the upstream part, what we call the supplier relation management. And that's how e-SCM was born. And in this case, technology is going to be very key, a must-do in the future. And when you look at scoping the markets, looking at what solutions exist for supply chain, of course, now you can cover the whole supply chain process and the whole value chain, dealing with SaaS solutions as we are. Logia and e-SCM, and I think it's important for you to value that scalability, flexibility is really important when you are looking for a new technological partner, and that's what SaaS allows a lot more than customized solutions. Mm-hmm. So suppliers are now back at the center of the transaction. They are no longer a transaction partner. They're a real partner to really have a vision long-term over the control on production quality, production lead times, and because also they hold a lot of data that is really crucial to the whole process. And in such a fast-moving environment, when you don't have reliable, trustworthy data, that you don't share between divisions, that's where you are actually increasing your risks in terms of delays, stockouts, overstocks, quality issues. So the more data you're going to have, the more you're going to share it between divisions, the better it's going to be for your decision process. And usually this data also exists, of course, in ERP systems. They're very fundamental. PLM system, but not enough and not flexible enough. So that's why it's good to be disruptive, be innovative. And that's the vision that Hummel had actually 3-4 years ago when they accelerated this digitalization journey internally. That's when both e-SCM and Logia came on board pretty much. They really pursue a journey to empower the logistics by digitizing the workflow from A to Z, upstream to downstream side of the supply chain. So starting with the SRM system, including the WMS system with Logia, and they also have a data lake, which is quite common to large organizations to transit data. But that's really the vision they pursue for long term to sustain their growth and be sure that they could control better the workflow and shorten the lead times, because they even push further with automation within their own warehouse.
I think, Caroline, we can add to this that what we've also seen over the years is that we have seen a far more disruptive supply chain across the fashion and luxury business, combining nearshore and offshore suppliers, maybe even of the same product, that you will have nearshore suppliers that are providing smaller amount of inventory on certain products, where you will have larger campaigns, maybe even of the same products that are being provided by the supply chain from offshore suppliers, and mapping that whole triangle together of multiple sourcing strategies brings another tier, another complexity layer to the whole supply chain management.
Mm-mm. Yeah, definitely, it's complex. The fashion supply chain is complex, is very rich of data, various data, and it's today we know that brands can face suppliers for finished products, but it's also stretched to raw material components when you are doing contract manufacturing. So it's actually a sum of steps accumulating, and that's actually aggregate to achieve a certain OTIF that you are probably being that you probably monitor in your organization. OTIF is usually at the center of the attention. And that's, if you want to improve, that needs to go into each step of the process. And that's at the level of the supplier upstream part in terms of e-SCM, covers order material, but also reception of material, production lead time, advancement of the production, and at the end, when your goods is being shipped and should be arriving for your logistic warehouse to be ready. And you need to adapt these various steps, and it's due to the complexity, the growing complexity of the supply chain, it makes it even more difficult to align various divisions such as conception, product development, and logistics, warehouse, because a lot of organizations still work a lot in silos, and that's part of digitalizing. It's the change management also you need to take into consideration. And that's one thing Hummel really pushed when they deployed their solution and started to digitize, is to align also your process internally and understand, okay, where do we need the data, where it comes from, and how internally we also work better together. That's important. So effective orchestration between various systems can be a real game changer if you have the right data. So you can shorten the lead time, and you can look at it from an upstream perspective. As you see here, it's very self-explanatory. And that impacts directly also the end of the process with what's happening when it arrives in the warehouse. Jesper, maybe you can say more.
Yeah. Happy to. So what we're looking at here is basically the complex strategies and in terms of what is actually going to happen when the goods arrive in the door. And as you can see here in the right hand side of the graphic, you can have multiple put away strategies. You can have of course a put away strategy for how much of the incoming goods should go into the automation. Could be an auto store, it could be a vertical lift or a conveyor pick or whatever kind of automation that you're using. It could also be, of course, a self-picking area where you are maybe picking that product out of full cartons, and obviously, of course, you would also have some buffer putaways. Before we get to that, as being a part of the fashion and luxury brand industry, of course, we are working quite a lot, quite heavily in most companies with pre-sales orders. So what we are looking to achieve here as a part of the incoming good management is to see, well, what do we know of those products coming in? What do we know of the products that we may not yet have received, but we are about to receive that within a shorter period of time? And how can we build that information to lay out intelligent pre-sales order fulfillment strategies in terms of how much of those incoming goods should actually be withheld in the goods reception area, or at least the warehouse area that is tightly connected to the goods reception, so that we should not take those products, spend too much time in moving those products far away into the warehouse or even into the automation. Hence, it will be faster if we could just pick it right in the goods reception, or in some areas that are connected to the goods reception. We also have, as most of the industries that we're working with are somehow managed to do a quality control or are compliant to do a quality control of different things, and some brand owners are actually having at the sourcing location having that quality control to be performed even before the goods are arriving into the warehouse itself. So we can actually manage whether or not that quality control has been taken place, and what was the outcome of the quality and control inspection, if it has not yet been carried out at the supplier level. when packing the goods. We can orchestrate that process to be taken care of in the goods reception.
But there is certainly quality control throughout the whole process.
Yes.
Before production, during production, before shipment, which can be disruptive, and when you receive the goods. So actually, we might want to question you in your organization today. If you reflect on your process, what is your biggest current challenge in connecting divisions such as procurement, suppliers, warehouse operations? If you already work with a solution or not, what do you highlight as a challenge? Is it the lack of visibility mostly? Or if you have good visibility, but still you encounter delays, difficulty of sharing data between systems, or too many manual processes? And of course, manual processes does exist from the beginning, especially for emerging companies, to a certain extent. So if you want to answer, you can just go into the chat window and give us some input. That would be really appreciated. And so we know pretty much what you are facing in your day-to-day job. So when we talk about, of course, the data scope that we deal with on both sides, it's a different data scope, of course. But on e-SCM side, being in close connecting actually together in real time suppliers, purchasing, quality, freight forwarders, we are going to bring in and collect data mostly linked to the PO management. So all PO details, quantities, price, and contents, production progress, but also what is very key, transport documentation, such as packing list, and also shipment information, shipment bookings, real-time data from freight forwarder. And data is really what is at stake. You can find it in other systems, but really more scattered. And in the end, it's how you can improve your decision-making process if you can consolidate all this data in one place at the level of the PO and push it to then the WMS. Mm-hmm. And when you flow the data more easily and fluidly, you can have proactive orchestration, anticipating disruptions and optimizing stock fulfillments, because you can just act in real time on your PO in case you need to push extra quantities, extra order, or if you need to split a PO and then you need to announce that to your logistic. What is logistic after is usually into e-SCM, and so you can provide more visibility, more anticipation to your logistic with the WMS.
And usually what is happening here on the warehouse side of things is if you do not have this information and you do not yet share that with your warehouse, what you're often experiencing is well, obviously you cannot plan on something that you don't know is going to happen. So when it comes to capacity management, when it comes to workforce management, you hadn't had a chance to free up the space in the warehouse. You hadn't had the chance to hire in the extra workforce to make sure that you're capable of managing all those incoming goods if you are not getting the information in advance. And I think important for this to say, because I think every warehouse would say that, well, we do have the information about incoming goods, but what is crucial here is the level of the detail about the incoming goods. Do you know exactly how it will be packed? Do you know exactly the trailer or even the container number that the products are in? Let's imagine for a second that you're receiving 10 containers of various goods from your suppliers. How would you know which one of them are the most important one to handle, and in what sequence should you ask your freight forwarder to bring container number 1 and 2 to your warehouse? Which one of those 10 containers would be of the highest priority? And that could play a crucial role in the way that you are capable of honoring your customers' needs, of course.
Mm-mm. So that's why another question, if you want to answer, what is the biggest information gaps that you can see into your organization or IT infrastructure? Is it between supplier and procurement team? Is it between procurement and warehouse, or between the warehouse and the distribution? That's a good question to ask yourself. And if you want to answer, just give us an information in the chat.
Yeah, we already got a few comments.
Yeah.
Caroline.
Yeah.
Errors at inbound. Cecilia is saying, and Lars is mentioning resource planning issues due to large volume variations and unexpected arrivals, which speaks pretty well into.
Planning, demand planning is definitely also crucial, and we hear a lot about that. SNOP, how you can really be aligned with your forecasts, sales forecast, but also react when you have actually one SKU that is selling well, and you need to replenish quickly with your supplier, and you need to increase quantities. And you need to make sure you align with your merchandising campaigns in your various channels, being omni-channel, that's even more demanding. So we hear that a lot, that the data gap, the information gap is a lot between procurement and warehouse. And then demand planning, SNOP is really important. So what we're talking about now to explain and be very concrete, what does it look like? I think that's the first thing Jesper mentioned to me when we got to discuss the first time is, oh my God, the ASN. The ASN you can give us, it's incredible. I think that's really the key points and what we push between our two systems and transit between the data lake of human is all the PO content. So since we have the packing list on e-SCM, and I will show you after that what it looks like. Since we have the packing list, we can just really push straight away the detailed content conditioning of the PO, but also shipping details, because the freight forwarder are connected to e-SCM as well. Usually a purchasing team will have a date about the transit timeline by receiving emails of the freight forwarder or maybe connecting to a portal. But in this case, they can just have visibility on e-SCM over the whole transit timeline directly, because the freight forwarder and the supplier will connect to e-SCM and update the key dates. So you have the shipping details also, and you can provide your logistics. Okay, what is the freight forwarder will update the ATA, ATD, and even a delivery appointment, a reception appointment with the warehouse, so that you can anticipate your workload and know exactly what container is coming in with the content in real time. And that's usually really what everybody is after, to know once the goods are in transit, what's happening, is there any delay, when is it supposed to arrive, and the logistics needs to get organized and to face the workload. So ASN are really key and valuable, usually not within ERP system at all, coming from a TMS system maybe. But it can be tricky to actually digitize them and push them directly into the WMS. So that's what e-SCM has really worked through the years. And we know that's what makes it very innovative, because we combine both the transport, the ASN, and the PO data.
And I think I would like to state one thing here, because I myself have been working in the ERP business for quite many years, and what we're looking at here is that if we take a look, because this is a comment that I hear quite often, say, well, we already have this inbound functionality in our ERP system, and what is important to notice in the ERP system is that an ERP system is built on silos. So you have a purchase order, you have a goods reception, and you have warehouse operations built on top of what you have already posted as being received in your warehouse, and that may be a little bit too late. for the whole orchestration of your picking order outbound flows. So in Roima in Look VMS together with e-SCM, what we can actually do is that we can look into the future, say, well, we already know that these products are actually coming, they're going to arrive in 1 or 2 days or whatever, and we can actually start planning based on that information, which enables us to have a higher customer satisfaction rate, lower the handling cost, and so many other benefits.
Mm-mm. And cross-docking, if you need to push that to certain point of sales, you need that to be out of the warehouse the day after, or you have automation, pickup automation for your order management. And so you need the goods to be into the automation structure straight away. So yeah, ERPs are definitely fundamental, and we hear a lot of comments also on our side. But most they tend to be less flexible, definitely through time if you want to upgrade. And if you want to be at some stage, if you want to really deal with a challenge, it's good to look at a solution that is specific with expertise on a certain functionality. Because in the end, that's how you will speak the same language and you will understand exactly the process pain points that you need to address. So what does it look like? Sorry, exactly. What we're talking about when we mentioned the packing list in e-SCM, that's how it looks like. Really, that's concrete. Because we have all the details of a PO in e-SCM, we retrieve it from the ERP. There is a continuous synchronization with the ERP. That's something I did not mention, sorry. Because we have all the details of the PO, we are able to help the supplier to generate automatically the packing list. And so this packing list is going to be digitized, and we can even help them populate the content per carton with the quantity, the size, the color, if you want to mix color or not. That's up to you. We set up rules with the brand, and then you can have packing lists that are populated and generated automatically for all the orders, for all suppliers. So you end up with homogeneous documents that have less errors. You save time for your suppliers. It's very reassuring for them, and they save time on their side as well. And they know exactly what they should put in which carton. And the packing list is available straight away and can be exported, of course, in PDF. And that's digitizing it that allows us to push this data, this content to the WMS. And in terms of, yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you could, and I think important to notice is that on each of those lines here, there will be a barcode or QR code that are linked to those lines that we can actually intermediately scan in the goods reception in the warehouse, so that we can more or less save a lot of time in the goods reception process.
Mm. And of course, you can have one container coming in with various orders that were actually shipped from various suppliers, because in e-SCM, we're going to pay attention to consolidating shipments coming from the same port of departure or port of departure, so that you can rationalize transport costs, and we can mix orders and create batches inside the same packing list. Of course, that should not be a constraint, because we know it's happening a lot, and you don't necessarily ship all the quantities of one order straight away. So that's also reflected. And in terms of the timeline that you will have access to, once the freight forwarder updates the key dates on e-SCM, you will find for each shipment number, once it's created, you will have a timeline where you can just see the progress of the transit going through shipping date, shipment submitted, confirmed ATD, ATA, and delivery date at the end at your warehouse, because there will be a planning for the forwarder to make an appointment. And so you can have access to that in real time without connecting to a portal or going to some external solution. And to even go further with the reception process, and that's what Hummel does, because you can customize the shipping marks onto e-SCM. We also generate shipping marks for each order that the suppliers will print and apply on each carton. So you can decide what data information you want on your shipping mark, and that can be customizable. It's SSCC compliant, of course, GS1 compliance, and you can think of everything like a QR code, RFID, anything that will be included. And that is what can be really a game changer inside a reception process to actually reduce resources. And if you think of a QR code, then you can just scan it on a conveyor and have your content parcels dispatched on the right belt.
Yeah, that's right, Caroline. I think added to this, what you would see in some companies today that are not using this setup is that you would have multiple overlapping operations on the operator level. So, for instance, you will have multiple goods reception processes. You will have a goods reception taking place in terms of did the goods arrive in the warehouse or not, and then you would end up in a situation scanning that same product several times as you move forward in the process, carrying it through the warehouse, carrying it into the automation if you're using, for instance, AutoStore or something else, and most of those processes can actually be skipped if we provide the right level of data at the right point. And that is what we're addressing here. So basically, it means that you can cut inbound processes. Some you can cut entirely, saving a lot of time and money on that. This also enables you to support cross-docking and omni-channel flow. So what we're looking for in fast fashion, of course, is to bring those products faster for the consumer and faster into your stores. And there's multiple options for you to speed up that process if you have the right amount of if you have the right level of data in your hand. And also in terms of how the warehouse itself is operating, so the replenishment of the different areas in your warehouse. You may have a conveyor picker or a shuttle picker or an AutoStore or some kind of automation where you're doing piece picking. But you may also have other areas in the warehouse where you're doing carton pickings, and you may of course also have areas in your warehouse where you're keeping these products in a buffer. But how to know where to put a certain amount of those products. Usually that's up to the warehouse employee on the ground to make that decision. And what we can do here is that we can support that or even automate that decision process.
And stock rotation is really important to orchestrate. Quality and compliance, of course, it's one thing to mention because within the supply chain and for supply chain managers these days, operation directors, there is a legal rising constraint on transparency and holding a lot more information about a process of production, of transport. So, of course, our systems are able to support you in this direction. And for quality and compliance, you can find a lot of different data in different systems. But this is part at the end of ESG data that will help for a product passport if your organization is currently internally considering it for the future with the European legislation coming up. So quality, of course, because such systems should help you to streamline the quality compliance of your product to avoid excess inventory or default stock when you receive your collection. So that's why in e-SCM, we emphasize quality through indicators to streamline the production process. So you can define different steps to control and validate with each supplier for each order, and they can be very different. And we talk about standard indicators in the industry. If you know pre-production sampling, reception of fabric, or maybe size, fitting, dyeing, different steps that are part of the product journey. So in the end, you need that also in your product passport when you want to highlight the country the chain of country involved and the chain of steps involved in the product journey. And of course, ESG is very vast. We're talking here about certificates that may be required for a specific article, for documentation, transport documentation, but also the carbon footprints, of course, of the transport, because moving further, your organization can try to be really best of breed with LCS calculation, but you have both carbon footprint for production and carbon footprint for the transport of your collection. So of course, for us, it made sense to have it available on e-SCM, and then you can aggregate also with what you're going to have on the WMS.
Yeah. So basically, we're keeping track of all this level of information that is provided, so we can use that intelligence of course for good reception. We can use it for replenishment. We can use it for picking purposes, of course, where all this information is being carried out throughout the whole delivery process as well. What we see across industries, not only in the fast fashion and luxury goods, but we do see an enhanced use of value-added service codes for handling, saying that for this new supplier, since we are talking about multiple supply chain strategies in many cases, VAS codes is an option for you to kind of have a level of compliance in terms of what do we need to do to these products when they arrive. Do we need to take, of course, a quality control? Do we need to take a picture of the incoming goods? Do we need to unpack it? Do we need to relabel it? Do we need to apply any apparel on it, or what must be done to exactly this type of the product, to exactly this shipment that may be different from previous shipments, or maybe different from future shipments, and those can also be shared between our platforms.
All right. I think we're closing soon because we've already taken most of the time. Just to highlight here as an illustration of what I was mentioning on e-SCM, the production indicator, you can see on the left. So you would have dedicated screen for production follow-up, and you would have the indicators with a color code showing if it's validated or not. So you can know straight away at which stage you are. Same for your packing list, and shipment-wise also, you see here the little green leaf on the right side for the carbon footprint, which is calculated through an external partner and pushed back into e-SCM. So definitely, we hope through a brief and short, of course, introduction, we can make you confident about the ROI you can definitely generate along the value chain if you are thinking of pushing the interoperability between your systems. That's necessarily the time to market you can shorten by at least 5 to 10 days. That's what we noticed with most of our customers. Of course, it's an average, and that depends a lot on where the brand starts from, of course. Reduced inbound cost per unit because you are going to consolidate shipments. You can reduce handling at reception, use less resources. Higher reactivity in aligning your merchandising campaigns with your stock availability, because it's a matter of just being in line with your trade marketing, but also having the right stock for the demand. And when you need to push replenishment on a certain article, you need to be able to do that straight away. And that will contribute definitely to assessing, evaluating your supplier performance and accountability through time, because they are definitely involved in the lead time overall, and it starts with them. So if you get control from the start, normally that helps you to achieve better operational efficiency overall. And value-added service, as you mentioned, Jesper.
Yeah. So if the warehouse are to do any additional activities when the goods arrive, those can be based on the name of the supplier, name of the customer. If it's on picking, it can be placed on the product itself, or it can even be on a specific order. So if you would within the e-SCM have a specific order where you say, well, you need to apply this flag, then we can automatically incorporate that as a part of the integration, saying that for exactly this product or exactly this specific order, these value-added services need to be applied.
Right. Well, I think we hope it was valuable, and definitely we're available if you would like to receive personalized feedback, talk, discuss about specific challenges you have. Of course, you have more content, articles, webinars available on our websites if you want to navigate and browse them. And you have our contact here if you want to pursue some discussion. We will be in connection with you, of course, to share the replay and see if you have any questions about it. And if you do have questions also now, we are still available with you 5 minutes. So let us know if you have any questions before we close down this webinar for the day. I can open the micro actually also. So
yeah, I can just say thanks for the update, Caroline, Jesper.
Sure.
And Jesper, we'll be seeing each other tonight, so looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Me too. Me too, Lars.
No more questions from me today.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for joining, Lars.
Yes.
Yeah.
See you later.
See
Bye.
you later. See you later. Bye.
Okay. Well, anyway, if you do have questions, you can reach us by email. Thank you for your time. Merci, Jesper.
Thank you too.
Hope to
Thank
see
you
you
all.
soon. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Au revoir.
Bye.